What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. So happy to be here with you today in the Business Growth Seekers for Dietitians and Nutrition Coaches. And I'm here with a very, very special guest, Mrs. J. And so every single Monday, we're here at 7 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have some changes soon, though, to provide you valuable trainings on everything business to help you start and grow your business to as far as you want it to go. And every now and then we bring in some special guests like Jennifer here today to share with you her story of going into private practice, what she's been able to accomplish, the ups and downs and everything around. And so Jennifer, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
I love it. I love it. So for those of you who don't know Jennifer is the Menopause Dietitian. I love it. I still love it so much. She specializes in working with women in perimenopause and menopause to achieve improved energy, weight management, improved sleep, and less stress, and consistency in physical movement so they can live a healthier lifestyle by overcoming bloating, exhaustion, and breaking away from the weight gain cycle. Did I get that right?
Perfect. Just perfection.
Awesome. Sweet. So Jennifer, as we dive in and as everyone is hopping on, say hello. We always love to see who's on with us. Say hello. If you're watching live, go ahead and hashtag live. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. And what's going to happen is we're going to have a great conversation with Jennifer here. You might have a lot of questions. So as you start to have questions for Jennifer or myself, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Okay. At the end, we'll go ahead and answer all your questions before we hop off. Sound good? Awesome. So Jennifer, if you don't mind just sharing, give us a little bit of your background. How long have you been a dietitian for, and what setting do you work in?
So I've been a dietitian for over 20 years. It's hard to believe that. When I look back, it's amazing how quickly that has gone. But I have been working in a diabetes center. So I've been doing diabetes education and then all other outpatient nutrition. I just recently switched to an employer clinic. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more with just that specific employer. So it's exciting. It's been, a fun journey, but it's time to branch out and kind of do my own thing at this point. So.
Yeah, I love it. When did you first start thinking about starting your own business?
So I've always had this sort of entrepreneurial spirit in me, just never quite knew what I wanted to do. And I've kind of stopped and started a few different projects and ideas, and never really felt like I was in a place to be able to do that. I have 3 boys. They're all young men now, so they're kind of on their way towards, adulthood. And so it just felt like the right time to sort of have something that was a little bit more foundational. And I really, when I first started thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just do a few hours on the side. It'll be fine. And really wasn't thinking that this was going to be my career of choice. And if, in a short period of time. But at this point, I can envision it now. And I really want the freedom, the time freedom, and the financial freedom of being able to have my own business. So this is going to work. I'm just figuring out how to make it that way.
Yeah, I love it. And so, because you said you've been a dietitian now for 20 years, you've been practicing for 20 years. And so going into business, is this something that I guess you said you've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, but have you always thought about going in this direction? Has that been something you've been thinking about over the past year? Or what was that thought process in moving forward with it?
So I have been a dietitian for over 20 years. I went back and got my master's in guidance and counseling. So I became a counselor a few years after I got my dietitian degree. And then I decided that was I was okay for a while. I really enjoyed doing, some eating disorder work and some kind of behavioral types of things with patients. And then I think it was probably 7 or 8 months ago, I told somebody, I'm like, I'm not going into private practice. There's no way. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm really confused by the whole process. And I literally within 24 hours was like, oh, well, let's find a business coach and let's get this going. And I'm like, I don't really know what happened other than something came over me that said I needed to go into private practice. So it's been an interesting journey, but it's been fun.
Yeah. That's incredible how you just had
Yeah.
shift in overnight,
My
really.
husband thought so too. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you
That's
doing?
that's so interesting. So interesting. Yeah. And so that, yeah, I didn't know it was like just like that. And so I guess my question to you is, now that you've started this process, I know it sounds like, your kids are grown up, and it sounds like it was a good time to get this going.
Yeah.
But does any part of you feel like, you wish you would have started something like this earlier on in your career, or have you thought about that before?
So yes, and I think that's what I was looking for when I was thinking about other entrepreneurial ways to go. I always kind of went somewhere different besides dietetics, and then I just started the kind of the reason that I really took this on as completely as I have is because because of the counseling and dietitian degrees, I have a kind of a special niche. And I do a lot more mental health counseling along with the nutrition education. So I know there are some other dietitians that have both. And I think as dietitians are now required to get master's degrees and that kind of thing, there probably will be more that have that counseling background. But I was just getting really frustrated at my 9 to 5 because I wasn't being utilized in the way that I knew I could be utilized. And I wasn't having that freedom to be able to offer the education that I knew I could offer. So that was kind of the switch. I realized, like, I can do this in a different way. It doesn't have to be kind of that traditional dietetics way. And so I don't know why that particular 24 hours I realized that, but I knew that once I kind of locked onto that this would be the thing that would actually work. Because I'm very passionate about what I do, and everything else just felt like I was reaching for some sort of something, but this felt like, no, this is really where my passion is, and this is really what I'm good at. So like, let's go in this direction. So
Yeah, I think, that's so important to hear, because I feel like, and how many of you listening right now have also felt that before, where you're like, hey, I'm helping people, I have all this experience, and I've been doing this for, a few months or a few years, and I just feel like there's more that I can provide. And what I find is, and I'm not sure if you got to this point, Jennifer, and if anyone has, let me know, but down below. But it comes a time where a lot of people feel burnt out, like they're not, because they don't feel like they're making as much of a difference as they can be, and they start to feel like the profession isn't serving them, and they're starting to think, oh well, maybe I should do something else, maybe I should get out of the profession altogether, because I just can't do this anymore. And I feel like a lot of the times it's not so much the profession, right? Because we all got into what we do for a reason. And so I think that inside of us, we know that there's more to give and we have more potential, but in the box, in the environment that we're placed in and told to do certain things, it doesn't feel right, because the environment's not right. We're doing things because we're told to do them this way, and we can't really help people how we know we can help them. And so we feel trapped. When in reality, if we decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own terms, with my own rules, and I'm going to help people how I know they should be helped, and I'm going to use all my skill set, all my expertise to really transform someone's life, things would be way different. And so I feel like that's the difference in what a lot of people are thinking. It's like, I feel trapped, I should probably just get out of the profession altogether, where it's like, no, not really. It's just the way that it's being done, and the way that you're being forced to do it is just not working for you, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think too, like, the switch happened for me at this time in my life, because prior to that, I was very focused on our kids. And I know there's a lot of moms that are in, your program and in other programs that you're focused, you're very focused on the kids. And for me, career was secondary to that. And I was comfortable with that at that point. I was very comfortable in what I did. It's not the fact that I didn't like what I was doing. It's not that I didn't like my job. But once I realized and started to dream, and once you open that bottle, you can't put the cap back on, right? Because it was like, no, this is not what I want to do. And this is, I know I can offer more. And so once you get out of that sort of mindset of that's all there is for me, then it's a whole new ballgame for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the shift. I didn't expect it to happen in 24 hours though.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. And so what were some of the first steps that you took in setting up your business? Because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, and something that keeps many of us stuck early on is just not knowing where to even start. Mm-hmm. And so for you, I'm curious, like, what were some of the first things that you did, the first steps that you took when setting up your business?
So I quickly realized that I didn't know what I was doing when it came to business. And I'm sure that other dietitians feel this way too. We aren't taught how to run our own business. We're really taught that very traditional dietetics role, right? So it's either clinical or outpatient. It's all very black and white. There's not a whole lot of gray in there. For people that have been in the profession for 20 years, there wasn't this whole telehealth push and technology and you can do this from your home type of thing. It just wasn't a thing. So for me, it was always following the rules of that, and never really thinking outside to how do you run a business. And once I realized all that I needed to do to run a business, and it was all about me running that business, I'm like, oh, I don't know anything. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. I honestly didn't know that there were business coaches, and I was like, oh, well, let's look at that. Because if you need to get your oil changed, I don't change my oil in my car. I go and have somebody do that for me. So I'm like, if I can have somebody do that, I can certainly find somebody that's going to help me, get this business started. And it just seemed like that was going to make me move forward quicker, because if I had to learn all of this on my own, I mean, you can do that, but it's going to take a very long time. So I was glad that I, sought out business coaches at that point, and didn't wait for a year or 2 years before I did that.
Yeah, that's such good advice. We obviously know how big we are on that, and we have coaches that we've hired, several coaches that we've hired over the past few years, and it's just the roadmap to accelerate, the path to success, or whatever that looks like for you specifically. Everyone listening, and 100%, I agree with that. It's like we didn't go through kindergarten to 12th grade, on our own.
Right.
At this point, it might have been better because of what they teach now, but
That's a whole nother topic.
but let's, like overall, right? Like if you're going to become a dietitian, it helps to have someone tell you, hey, these are the exact things you need to know. This is the process you have to go through. You're going to take this exam. Once you pass this exam, you're going to study this, then you're going to take this other exam. And this is how you actually help someone. This is what the first visit looks like, and, so on and so forth. So I think it's just a part of how we learn, and a part of how we accelerate our growth and our abilities to become the person that we need to become. In this case, a business owner, but before, for many people watching right now, right, becoming a dietitian, it's the same process, and you didn't do it alone. And so I think that's a big, I just want to, emphasize that, because I think that's a huge takeaway already. So I appreciate that. And so we already know what population you work with, right? Perimenopausal and menopausal women. And so how did you decide to work with that population specifically?
So I am 51 and perimenopausal. So, it wasn't a far stretch for me to think about, what are the types of ladies that I want to be able to work with. And then quite honestly, my big push for that was starting to talk to some of them and really kind of look, how you kind of go car shopping and that's all you see is that particular kind of car. That's how I felt about it. I was like running into menopausal women all over the place, and not just friends and people that I know. And it was, the same, I was hearing the same thing over and over again. I go to the doctor or I go to my provider and they tell me that there's nothing I can do, and I'm in menopause and I just have to live with it. And I'm like, oh, that is everything in me was like huge red flags. Like, no, we can do better. I know we can do better. And so, it's really taking people through that mental and physical process of being able to live their best life. And I'm so passionate about the fact that no matter what stage they're at or how they're feeling, there's always things that we can do and take a look at to improve that. And I feel like empowering women to be able to do that is so important. And it just makes me sad that they would, think that they were just sort of stuck. So being able to talk through that and have somebody listen and care and understand where they're at from a personal and a professional perspective, I thought was just really, really important, and way outside of what I traditionally would do, right? Because it's not a numbers game in the fact that when I see them, I can spend as much time as I want to with them and take them through that process. And that just was life-changing for me, because it really gives purpose to what I do, because I know that they can feel better. By working together.
That's amazing. And I think, and this by any means doesn't have to be the same for everyone. But I think there is a power when you have experienced what you're helping other people who are experiencing the same thing as you, because you understand them at a deep level. And for many people, like, you are them, right? And so I think there is a connection there, and a lot of trust that's built just by the very fact that you have been through that before, or are currently going through it. And the understanding of what you said is so key, right? The experience that you had when you went to go see your doctor, and they kind of just like, no, no, it's just how things are.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not just how things are, you know? And yeah.
I think the biggest thing, Javi, is hope. If you aren't at the same stage, is if you can give clients hope about there are always things that you can do to help improve yourself. Because I mean, if we think about our own situation, none of us are perfect, right? So there's always things that we do personally to improve. Oh, except for you. I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
You, and definitely Marissa. Absolutely, Marissa.
No, if anyone, it's Marissa, not me. Just
but so being real with people and giving them the hope that, I will work with you and we can figure these things out together. I think even if you're not in that same situation as they are, giving them that hope and that vision, I think is super important. Just from a professional perspective, I think is super important.
Yeah. And I think, that's so key, right? Because at the end of the day, like we have seen people that have done amazing things, that have had complete life transformations, right? And so we do have to have that belief first that that the person in front of us can get there as well, because they can, right? A lot of it is under our control, the things that we can do to make those improvements in our life. And so I 100% agree with that. Hope is so key. Sure. And so on the topic of hope and mindset, is that something that, that you ever struggle with, mindset, not feeling ready? And if so, what do you do about it? Because I know a lot of people, especially early on, also feel that same way, including myself, and it's still an ongoing thing, right? And so I'm curious what that was like for you, if that's something that you dealt with.
So my first response is it's like 7:18 and like 5 o'clock probably was the last time I had a mindset, struggle. So yeah, it's a constant battle. It's a much easier battle now, but I will never say that I don't think my mindset is ever going to be 100%. It kind of goes back to that perfection thing, right? Because we are designed to have an emotional roller coaster all the time. And so it just depends on the day and the time, but certainly through the coaching process, especially in your and Marissa's program, there is such an emphasis on community building. And so it's not just you and Marissa that obviously care about us as people and entrepreneurs, but you also care about our clients. And I've known that since the beginning. And that was really super important to me, that not only I was going to be taken care of, but you were going to make sure that I mean, I had to do the work, right? Everybody has to do their own work, but like caring that we were giving a good quality product to our clients is super key. But then on top of that, having multiple people that are helping along the way and building such a community of dietitians and nutritionists that are supporting each other, that doesn't happen in the traditional dietetics setting. I mean, there's a lot of really good people that are dietitians, but in that traditional role, there's so much more. I don't even know if it's competition or what the word is that I'm looking for, but it's not that supportive, encouraging environment. It doesn't matter if people are in the same niche. And I found in private practice, there are so many people to help that we're all like, we all have plenty to do. Let's just band together and make sure that we're making a difference for all these people. So mindset is huge. And I think what I found is I have to switch my mindset. I have to work on my mindset so that I can help my clients work on theirs, because that's the key too. If they're ready to go and they're ready to work, I have a client right now that I'm working with who's phenomenal. And it's because she was ready from the minute we started talking. And so she is walking through the process so well because she's open to it and ready for it. And it's just like the most amazing process ever. So absolutely.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so good. And so, and I love what you said, because it's so true, right? For whatever reason, in the traditional work setting, typically, and for those of you watching right now, like, let us know. I've heard I mean, for me personally, even while I was going through my clinical internships, there were some toxic environments, right? Whether it was one person or a group of people, that it was just negative thing after negative thing after negative thing. And it was just everyone kind of against each other, which is not a good environment to put yourself in to begin with. And I say put yourself in because I think it is a choice, right? We do have a choice to get out of that environment. It's not easy by any means, but we do have a choice. And so I think that when it comes to going into business, it can be very lonely, right? Because many times our family doesn't know why we're doing it. Our friends definitely don't know why we're doing it. Our coworkers definitely don't know why we're doing it. And everyone's questioning us constantly. And when people are questioning us that much, we start to question ourselves, right? And so we have to decide to put ourselves in a group of people, even if we can't do it in person. There's no excuse to not do it online, right? To be able to put yourself in a group of people, of like-minded people who are there to support and encourage you, every step along the way is definitely helpful, because like you said, mindset is an ongoing battle, right? And and you mentioned it, like our mind, our brain is designed for survival, right? Where back in the day, it was like saber-toothed tigers trying to eat us. Now it's just, whatever the news and just I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here, but I like talking mindset because we're hardwired to look for danger, right? And so if you think about it, when you're driving, right? Let's say you're driving on the highway, like there could be this beautiful sunset, like the most beautiful sunset ever. And you're driving and you'll just drive right past it, right? Like you don't slow down to look at it. But what happens when there's a car crash? What happens when there's like a fire on the side of the road? Everyone slows down. That's really the cause of traffic, right? Everyone slows down to look at it.
Right.
And the sunset right behind it, no one stops to look at that. And so it's a natural thing. And so we have to consciously decide to put ourselves in the right environment and constantly switch whatever negative thoughts we're having for positive ones to really be able to move forward. And so huge.
I do want to add one thing about choice too. Our clients have to realize that they have a choice to do something different as well. So if we're stuck in the mindset of, I can't do this, my business is never going to grow, I'm always going to be that traditional dietitian or physical therapist or whatever it might be. And if we don't give ourselves the choice for something different, then it's always going to be hard. And we're always going to, and that's why mindset is so key to all of this, because we have to believe in ourselves a little bit, at least, to get to accept the possibility of something different. I mean, when I first started this, like I said, it was like, oh, I'll just do this for a few hours and it'll be fine. And I thought I needed to learn how to run a business. I really needed to learn how to choose to run a business and choose to show up every day for myself, as Elena always says, and, really, really show up and do what I know I can do and have the confidence to be able to do that, because I can know all the spreadsheets and everything else in the world, but if I don't believe it, it's not going to happen.
So good. So good. Yeah. And I think just one last, note on that. I think, becoming the person that we want our clients to be, right? We talk about this, and I think a lot of people think, oh, you're just saying that. It's like, no, right? For example, if we want our clients to invest, let's say, just because finances are like we can see that, right? Let's say we want a client to invest like $1,500 or $2,000 with us, right? And we don't do the same. We don't invest that amount of money in our own, whether it's our own health, our own business, etc. It's incongruent. We can't ask someone if we haven't done it ourselves. It just doesn't feel right. And so you'll never do it. And so that's from a financial perspective, but also from a commitment level. If we want our clients to be committed, then we also have to be committed, because if we're not, then we don't hold them to that standard. And that's why, people don't move forward. And obviously it's both parties need to be at that level. But one of us, and especially as a business owner, we have to be the ones that hold that standard. And so I 100% agree with you that if we want our clients to change, we have to change too, for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely. So good. We can talk about this for hours.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Let's see. Who do we have here? I want to say hello to everyone. So we have Amanda Clark. So good to see you. She says the vulnerability is real. Yes, it is. Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Good to see you. Ariela. Good to see you. Amber. Joanna. Haley. Nicole. Awesome. Marcia. Good to see you as well. Cool. So if you have any questions for Jennifer about her journey and what she's been able to accomplish so far, please drop them down below. We're definitely going to go ahead and answer those in a few minutes. Okay. And so Jennifer, for you, what social media? Because I know a lot of people ask, what social media channels should I be on? And so for you, I'm curious, what's been the most beneficial for your business? I actually know because we work together and see each other almost every day. but so everyone else knows, what have you found has been the most beneficial for you?
So Facebook has been phenomenal for me. Again, when I first started, I thought I needed to be everywhere all the time, but honestly, concentrating on Facebook has been really, really good. So that's the only place that I'm at right now.
Okay.
And it's been really good.
Awesome. What have you been able to accomplish on Facebook so far?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm the queen of Facebook groups, but that's just
so.
my own little thing, right?
So, yes.
So one of the things that I have been working on for my own mindset is authenticity, right? So when I first started on this journey, it did not feel as authentic as I wanted it to. So I needed to switch things up. And when I did that, I just kind of promised myself I wasn't going to do anything that felt, I don't even, shady isn't really even the word, but just, I don't know, it didn't sit right with me. Right. So when I first started going into Facebook groups, I couldn't find a rhythm to it. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't like how I was like trying to leave messages and, not leave messages and not talk about what I was doing. And so I'm just like, you know what, just like, let's just cut to the chase. Right. So there was a group that had at the time 17.3, so 17,000 people in it. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna message the admin, because what's the worst thing that she can say, right? She can just say no. And I'm like, at some point I'm just gonna get kicked out of the group if she says no anyways. So let's just go for it. So I sent her an email, or actually I sent her a message on Messenger, and I said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about, what I do and see what you think, if I can bring value to the group. And she's like, send me an email. So I sent her this email. And I just basically laid it all out. I said, I'm in private practice. I'm a dietitian. I'd like to bring value to your group. And she said, great. Do you want a subgroup? And I said, yes, please. So that subgroup has grown to about 1,000 people. That's where I get a lot of my interaction from. And she lets me moderate it, and she doesn't really say two words about it. I go into the main group and I say, hey, I'm the Menopause Dietitian. I'd love for you to join us if people are having questions. And it's called the Menopause and Weight Loss Friends group. So all of them have questions about nutrition. So, I usually, when I go in there and make a comment about the Menopause Dietitian subgroup, there's 5 or 10 people that will join the group. So that's how I built it really pretty quickly. It's only been a couple months. So that's been a really nice addition to being able to have that interaction with those people. And then a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, they were looking for moderators of the big group. And I'm like, hey, how about me? So I became a moderator of the 17,000 women. And so I can have much more freer interaction with them. And so it's been great. And it just felt I loved it, because I went in there and said, look, this is what I do. This is what I am. And she said, absolutely, that sounds wonderful. And she said, I don't want you to go in there and just sell your program all the time, but I go in there live every week, as Javier and Marissa, you guys encourage me to do. I go in there every week, same time, on the same day, and bring value to the group. And, I'm going to do a workshop in there pretty soon. That's, a free kind of get to know me type of a thing. So I'm definitely bringing the value, and they're responding. They're all excited about, getting that kind of more focused instruction and education. So
I love
really
it.
good.
The queen of Facebook groups.
Queen of Facebook groups. That's right. Mrs. J. Don't be Mrs. J, the queen of Facebook.
Mrs. J, the queen of Facebook groups. I love it. So
I do
good.
have to say too, I do have my own Facebook group, my own personal one, and I try and get them from that subgroup to my group too. So it's been that has helped my group grow as well.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. I mean, you just inspired so many others inside of our community as well to start thinking that way. And I think it goes back to the idea, what we mentioned earlier, that abundance mindset versus the competition or like scarcity mindset. It's like many times people, either will, say no politely and say, hey, no, like that's not what we're about. And that's fine. Right. But sometimes when we just decide to put ourselves out there, like you have, and being authentic and having that abundance mindset, you get opportunities like this that no one else does. And so that's what's possible. And I applaud you every single day for putting yourself out there and doing it, because it's been huge.
Well, if there wasn't that mindset,
so,
I wouldn't have done it. You know?
Yes.
That had to happen first before I said, okay, let's just do this. So it makes a difference.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I spoke with someone over the past month, and they didn't end up joining the Freedom Sprint program. But one of the things she mentioned kind of under her breath was, oh, there's all these people in this community, and like, doesn't anyone worry about competition, like same niches and stuff? And I'm like, it's definitely the wrong way to look at it, because I think you, Jennifer, or I'm not sure if it was you, Jennifer, but definitely some people in the group have referred clients to each other that they didn't work with.
People have.
Yeah. And so that's missed opportunity there, because not everyone does the same thing.
Right.
And so if we had more of a collaborative mindset, our peers, right, in the same profession as us would probably refer you clients.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you don't know what you're missing out on, you know? Yeah. But
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And so how many clients are you working with now?
So I currently have 3, working on a few more. And I love everything about it. They're just, it is the most amazing process when you can, people understand what it is that you offer. I do more intuitive eating and mindfulness work with people, especially with that counseling kind of piece thrown in there. And so to see the progress that they can make. And I had my second client, actually, she said, not sure. And she was kind of hemming and hawing about it a little bit. And she said, you know what, fine, I'm just going to invest in myself, because this is going to work. I just know it. This is going to be the thing that's going to be different. And that's what I really try and encourage them to think about is, do you want to do the same thing over and over again? Or are we going to change this up and do something that can completely change your life and change the trajectory of your health at this point? So it's been really, really good.
So good. So good. And if you don't mind sharing, what's the price point that you've been offering your program at?
$2,500 for a 12
$2,500 for 12 weeks?
For 12 weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's amazing. And this is all cash pay, right?
All cash pay, no insurance.
Pay. How do you get people to pay without insurance? I don't get it.
I had the same question a few months ago, Javi. But I think it's the value, right? It's when I believed that what I'm offering is worth $2,500, then I can speak that with authenticity. I don't look at it as I'm trying to get their money as much as it is I can help them in ways that they haven't been helped before when it comes to nutrition and lifestyle change. I can get them out of that rut of feeling like they are just stuck in this menopause kind of pool of depression and anxiety and all that kind of stuff. And we can work together to get them to on the other side of that. So to me, $2,500 is a drop in the bucket compared to their life and how they can take back and feel empowered with the choices that they're making. And I tell them up front. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, she had some objections to the cost, and I said, I'm going to walk this journey with you. I am going to be 100% in it with you, and I'm going to walk it with you for the entire 12 weeks. So if you have questions, if there's something you're not understanding, we're going to work together until you do. So it's different than when you go and see somebody and they do a 1-hour consult and you're kind of one and done. Even follow-ups are just different. I'm like, you have my undivided attention. I'm going to work with you and make sure that you succeed. And it's worked out really well. I mean, once, people start, they see the difference in my commitment and the commitment to, to them, because they're making that investment in themselves. You're right. When I made the investment to have a business coach, I listen because I'm paying money, but also because the community, now it's more the community than the money, but initially I was certainly paying attention because of the money. So that happens with clients too, right? They start to pay a little closer attention because they're like, I'm paying for this. So I want all of the time and attention. And they certainly get that. So.
Yeah. Good. So good. I know Marissa was asking, did you start at 2,500 or did you work your way up?
Oh, I totally worked my way up.
Okay.
Yeah. And, getting to the point where I could actually say the words 2,500.
Easy.
that took some mindset shifts too. But I started at 1,500 and then quickly found that the time and
You
attention.
sounded a bit more uncomfortable saying 1,500 now than 2,500.
I know, right? It's much like 2,500. So the fact that I knew how much time and attention they were getting, and I'm like, you know what, it just makes sense that we're all in this for some financial freedom too, right? And I'm not ashamed of the fact that I'm trying to support my family. My husband is 13 years older than me, so he's facing more retirement age, and I feel like I'm just getting started with my career at this point now that this is part of it. So I'm like, we got to go, and I got vacations to go on, so we got things to do.
Yeah, things to do, people to see, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. And so what was that? Because so you started at 1,500 and then you started increasing your price point. What did you, because I know, for some people, as soon as they get someone at 1,500, like 2 seconds later, they're like, dang, I should have charged more. Was that kind of what happened with you, or was it something else?
No, the first client, I felt like that I needed to sort of get my feet wet a little bit and, kind of understand the process and the system. And, originally before I even had a client, I was like, let's just do groups. Let's not even worry about it. Let's just go right into this. And then I'm like, and I think it was Marissa that said, hey, just, kind of learn the system a little bit first. And that was very smart advice. So, you got to understand the steps. And so now that I feel like I do, then it's like, okay, now we can increase that price and bring even more value and more time and attention. So it's been a good job.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. To your point, you mentioned about like 2,500 and it's, I always say, like, compared to what? Expensive compared to what? Right? Because here I am, right? Here's one phone, right? It's what's this, like 1,000, almost $1,200. Here's one that I bought like 4 years ago, probably another $800, right? And here's an iPad, another like $1,000, right? So I've got like $3,000 right here.
Right.
And so the question is, like, is this worth more than someone's life? Then whether it's your, a person's life when they're looking to gain financial freedom, have more flexibility in their life and actually be happy and fulfilled.
Right.
Then the same thing with health, right? Health can give you the freedom, right? Independence, mobility, and allow you to have energy to do the things you want to do in your life. And so we just have to ask, like, is this worth more than a human life? And when we put it that way, it's like, oh, I see.
And so, I could probably talk about this for an hour, but I'll try not to. When you say that, when I think back to when I first started and looking for a coach, and I was like, let's do this. I was very much in the how much money is it going to cost mindset, as opposed to how much value was I going to get out of it. So once I shifted that, and I can come at it from more of a value perspective for clients too, then it's not so hard to say $2,500 because I know the value that I'm going to bring to them. And it is literally not trying to do the same thing that they've done over and over again. You're trying to, because people are like, I don't want to talk to you forever and ever. And I'm like, I don't want you to talk to me forever and ever. I want you to feel confident and empowered so you can go out and live your life, and you never have to, you can just text me about how amazing life is. Like that would be perfect for both of us, right? Because there's more people behind you. But I think one of the things that needed to shift for me is I don't have to get every single client I talk to either, because it became this thing where I was like, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I not explaining my program correctly? Why am I not getting them to invest? I wasn't ready at a certain point to invest in a business coach. And once I was, it was, no holds barred, but our clients aren't always going to be ready at that particular moment. So it's not right now is very real, but I really encourage anybody that's getting into this to remember that they're still watching and they're still listening, and, being kind and being gracious and being, that's okay. Not right now is fine, but still giving value in those free Facebook groups or however else you do it, I think is super, super valuable. Because at the end of the day, that's where the authenticity lies for me, is I want to be the person that they say, you know what, I want to work with her because, she didn't just ban me from the group when I wouldn't pay $2,500. Like, she let me just kind of sit. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, can I just like observe in the group? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Observe all you want. You can pay me $2,500 later.
I love that. That is so good. Such a good mindset to have. Jeez.
It's like somebody taught me really well, Javi. I don't know who that was, but
I don't know. I mean, I don't know either. I mean, it's just so powerful, right? Because and we talk about it, right? We've talked about it. It's
Okay.
like no is never a no. It's a no, not right now, like you beautifully said.
Yes.
Again, I don't know where you got it from. Must have been a really smart guy
Yeah,
or gal. I don't
super
know.
smart.
Super
Power couple,
smart.
that's what they're.
But yeah. But you know, it's so true. And you know, a lot of people, it's so funny. I actually had someone kind of like not cuss me out, but got a little bit upset at how much I was following up just recently. And so it kind of it affects you, right? In that moment, it affects you. But there's so many people that are now working with us that are getting the help that they need because we followed up.
Yep.
And out of 100 people, one person says something nasty,
Yep.
right? And it kind of derails us, but we have to think about the other 99.
Yep.
And so I always look at it and we talk about it, right? That what's worse, what's more sleazy and slimy? You have a conversation with someone, they don't pay you, and then you don't talk to them ever again, not even to check in to see how they're doing, right? Not send them an email, don't text them, like nothing.
Right.
Like I think that's more about the sale than if we did follow up, even if they did get annoyed, like we don't stop till they tell us to stop, because ultimately we know that we're wanting what's best for them. And if they can't see it yet, they will at some point, and maybe they won't work with you, but they'll work with someone else, and at least they got the help. Right. And so I think I just wanted to share that because I know in a lot of people's mind, it's like, oh, like, you know, they said no, or I'm scared of following up. Like, how much should I do it? It's like you do it as much as you. I'd say at the level of the level of care you care about the person, that's how often you should do it. And then you know there's like timelines and whatnot, but I think having that mindset serves us all well.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the authenticity, right? I talked to a woman a few weeks ago and she said, you know, I can't do this right now. And I said, that's fine. And she's like, can I still be in the Facebook group? Is that okay? And I'm like, absolutely. You can still participate. It's a free Facebook group. Please, you know, join us and that kind of thing. And she was so grateful. And I'm like, who would knock you out of a free Facebook group? Like that just seemed, but you know, when we're being authentic and caring about people and we're all in this because we have compassion for other people, we want to help them. We need to help them in whatever way they're ready for. And then, you know, if they end up working with us later, fantastic. We know we can change their lives for the better. If they're not ready, that's not on us. That's on them. And I used to think of that like, oh, what do you mean it's not on them? I'm like, it's not on us. Like we need to do better. They're just not ready. And when they're ready, we'll be there. And you know, that's just all we can do because there's going to be other people that are ready. And that's kind of the thing, right? We work with the people that are ready. We wait for the other people. And then when they're ready, we work with them.
Yeah, exactly. And the more consistent you are, the more time passes, the more your audience grows, the bigger and bigger your client base grows. So it's just time is the factor, right? People who are in it for the long haul are the ones that will succeed for the long haul. And so obviously with the right skill set, expertise, and all of that, and continued learning and growth, 100%. And so I guess, I mean, you've given so much advice and value for everyone listening already. But if we had to like narrow it down, what's the best piece of advice that you can give to dietitians wanting to start or grow their own practice?
So, okay. So first of all, I'm going to give you guys a little shout out because, and I know we're not technically necessarily here to do that, but I mean, I really think that the reason that I can give authenticity and value is because that's what you do in your program. And it feels very easy to do what I'm doing because that's the kind of coaching that I've gotten. So that we didn't even rehearse that, but I really truly mean that. As far as what I would recommend other dietitians do, I mean, start as soon as you feel like you need to start. Like, don't hesitate to get a business coach. There's too much to learn on your own. It would take too long, and so the value that you get, you're going to recoup that so quickly. If you're open to it and you're ready for it. So when you're ready for private practice life, like just go for it because you're definitely going to find that groove a lot quicker if you have somebody walking with you to do that, because there's a lot to learn. And then I would highly recommend paying attention to your mindset. If that is not in line with everything that you want to do, which I haven't met anybody yet that it's 100% in line. We all have these sort of like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get clients tomorrow. And when I don't get clients tomorrow, I'll get them the next day. And, you know, it took me 6 months to get my first client. And that was because I chose the wrong first business coach, but that's a whole nother story, you know, so it was a process. It was a journey to get to this point. And so now there's so much momentum and so much movement forward that, but that required me to really look inside. So mindset and business coach, both very highly recommended.
Yeah, so good. So good. And so I think what I wasn't going to ask another question, but I think I do want to ask you to see from your perspective on the mindset side. And I appreciate all the kind words. We really do care and really want to see every person succeed. So I appreciate that. It's nice for it to get noticed every once in a while. So thank you. And so for the mindset piece, like what are some things that you've done? And I know you said the community has been a major role. Is there anything else that you've personally done, for yourself that you think has really been helpful for mindset?
I mean, I definitely have done work on my own personal life and my own personal perspective. What's my role now that my kids are getting a little bit older? What's my life going to look like at this point? I think that's just sort of the 51-year-old in me talking, but so definitely like personal introspection type of a thing. Definitely reading books on, changing the mindset and getting out of the kind of rut of feeling like nothing can change, and those kinds of things. And then for me, it's been the vulnerability, just allowing myself to recognize that I don't have to know everything about starting this business and what my journey is at this point. We kind of get stuck. I've been a dietitian for 20 years, so I'm supposed to know everything about being a dietitian, right? But I just today texted, I know, right? Just ruined the whole interview, didn't I? I just texted a dietitian friend and said, you know what, how do I do, what do you do for this? Because she works more in a particular area that I had a question about. And I've gotten to the point where I ask anybody there. I recommended somebody in the group that is new to the anti-inflammatory diet. I recommended her page to somebody else because I'm no longer fearful of all of my clients going and finding other people. If they do, then that means that that's what's best for them. There's going to be other people for me to help. So just recognizing that I have value myself and working on that piece, you have to do that before you can get to the point where you feel confident in business. In my opinion, you have to have, that confidence in yourself. Same thing that I teach my clients. You have to realize that you're worth this, that you're worthy of this change. And then once you do, it's all over. Like you're just going to make so many leaps and bounds. It's crazy. So
good. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer. This was so great. Let's see, who do we have on right now? Does anyone have any questions for Jennifer? We have, let's see, Nora. Hey, Nora, good to see you. Veronica, good to see you. Sidat, I think I pronounced your name correctly. Hopefully I did. Good to see you as well. Does anyone have any questions for Jennifer before we hop off? And so as you're asking some questions, Jennifer, where can people learn more about you and your group, and just where can they find you on social media? Because I think that, on this topic, I feel like if anyone knows anyone who's dealing with menopause that might benefit from Jennifer's help, you know where to send them.
You do. Absolutely do. So you can certainly search for me by my name. I have on my personal Facebook page, I have a link to my Facebook group. You can also search the Menopause Dietitian with my name and you'll get to my free Facebook group as well. And then I am launching a website this week as well. So I have the Menopause Dietitian website. So anywhere you look for the Menopause Dietitian, you should find me.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And so this was just an amazing interview. Again, thank you so much, Mrs. J. And and for anyone watching who would just like to, if you're feeling a bit stuck, if you're feeling like you've plateaued or you've been spinning your wheels and just want to get more clarity on what your next best step should be, again, whether that's something that we might be able to help you out with or someone else, because like what we talked about today, we have a lot of friends in the industry that we're happy to send you to if they're a better fit for you. Let's just get on the phone for 15 minutes. There's nothing to buy on the call at all. And it's just really to help you out, get you some more clarity, gain some confidence on your next best steps. So you know exactly what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. Sometimes that's more important. Many times we're doing a lot of things we shouldn't be doing. So if you want to know what you should not be doing, so you don't have to keep on taking 5 steps back, just go ahead and comment the word game plan down below, and I'll reach out to you. We'll talk over Messenger for a bit, maybe hop on a quick 15-minute call to see if we can help. Cool. And again, Jennifer, thank you so much. This was so much fun. And I'll see you in class.
All right. Sounds good. Good night.
Awesome. Have a great night.